Handsome gentlemen and SMEXY ladies, as always, welcome to Gaming My Whole Life. My name is George, and I likely have a very controversial opinion here. With a title like, Why This Will Save Gaming, when discussing Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet, most of you would think I have either lost my mind or I am trolling you. However, my dear viewer, I actually mean what I say, but likely not for the reason you expect. Anyone with eyes who is not an activist and has been paying attention to the video games industry knows that this game is in serious danger of already failing. The protagonist is one of the ugliest things I have ever seen, and that is by design. With that said, I am still telling you this will play a massive role in saving the gaming industry, and so please watch the whole video. I think you will agree in the end. Also, in the end of the video, I will directly address and explain why this video has the comments disabled in advance. Now, we know that Naughty Dog and its boss, Neil Druckmann, did horrific reputation damage to themselves with The Last of Us Part 2, both in terms of public perception, the loss of countless fans, and also financially, as the game underperformed greatly. So much so that the broken PC port of the first The Last of Us game sold even more than the brand new The Last of Us Part 2 did. Ouch! Anyway, fans were divided for countless reasons. You know the story without me having to re-explain it. This is Sony's most popular first-party studio. At least, they were the most popular. It wasn't just the game doing damage. Neil was mocking anyone who disagreed with him in the slightest and actively participated heavily in the culture war, going very woke and anti-gamer rather proudly. There was no professionalism with this man. You were either an ally, someone he liked, or an enemy, because that's how foolish activists think. They dehumanize everyone, so they can disregard any and all fair criticism. These activists, however, are extremely bad for business. As I mentioned, Sony spent a lot of time and money on The Last of Us 2, and it was a failure financially. The Last of Us 2 launched in 2020, so 4 years ago, and during arguably the wokest year on record, the peak of the anti-creativity movement. At this time, they immediately started working on their next game, that we now know was Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet. So all of the woke silliness and resentment that Neil was so comfortable with showing the world is in this game. One look at McFugly confirms things without a doubt because she is symbolic and deliberate. The graphics in this trailer, if you look closely, are actually amazing. The graphics are incredible, and visuals like these don't just happen. So much planning goes into everything. The textures, the lighting, the rendering, and so much more is all brought together by industry-leading experts. There is nothing you see, not a speck of color is shown that was not part of the plan. So, with all that in mind, why is McUgly here? And not only is she here, but the trailer goes out of its way to zoom in on her face as often as possible, forcing the viewer to stare at her. It's not possible to ignore her and her design and, focus on the actual game instead. That's because, to anti-creativity activists, this is what's important. Who she is and what she represents. Remember the year 2020, where it was celebrated to hate on everything normal. Attacking white men was encouraged. Attacking attractive women was encouraged. Denying your own sex was encouraged, and a more a woman looked like a man, the better. We still have some of that silliness happening now, but thanks to viewers such as yourselves who subscribe and support voices like mine, normalcy is gradually returning. As I always like to say, if you believe video games are about escapism and definitely not activism, please support me. It gives me courage to keep sticking up for fellow gamers, and you can do that by subscribing and hitting the bell notification. So, with all this history in mind and knowing what type of person Naughty Dog's boss is, let us all be shocked by the reveal, but even celebrate it still. That's right. I think this game will launch with some of the best graphics we have ever seen. It will receive glowing coverage from anti-creativity activists and win most of the awards at the Game Awards, just like they did with The Last of Us Part 2. The gameplay will likely not be horrible even, and there could easily be something to enjoy there if you want it bad enough. However, this game will still fail and will even be the death of Naughty Dog, the company who brought us Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. The death will be of the modern audience version of Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has anywhere between 200 to 500 employees, and they are freakishly talented. It would be a shame to lose all that talent, and most of them are just doing as told. The Western American Sony is struggling internally with Sony Japan, who are not happy with them. Spider-Man 2 underperformed. The Last of Us 2 underperformed. Concord died immediately. A massive loss, insane amount of time and money literally down the drain. And you can bet your hard-earned dollar that Sony of Japan has been watching the negative reaction to Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet and are furious. Not with the hate they know is warranted, they are furious at this side of Sony who is willingly participating in a culture war that has nothing to do with gaming. A new IP from Naughty Dog should be exciting. Let's go to space with cool sword sabers and enjoy a retro vibe of how we used to think the future would look like someday. Instead, we have a character, just like in The Last of Us, designed to split the audience yet again. I say split rather generously here because the reality is not that kind to them. Most people, by a landslide, hate what's going on currently in the AAA space between places like Ubisoft and Sony. Gamers outnumber anti-creativity activists by a huge margin. That's why we knew Concord would sink before it even launched. It's why we know Assassin's Creed Shadows will sink, and this as well will sink. You can't spend hundreds of millions of dollars developing games whose target audience is but a fraction of the install base and be surprised when it sinks. This sinking is good though. Sony Japan will have the final push and final nail in the coffin to justify removing control over its Western counterpart. Remember, Sony is originally and technically a fully Japanese company. When the first Spider-Man did insanely well, and the success of games like the first of The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, these games gave a lot of power and authority to the Western Sony. They clearly knew for a time what they were doing, and Sony Japan was happy to give them rein. That's not so much the case anymore. The gaming industry is slowly changing. Too much money, into the billions when you combine all the games failing, are going down the drain. McUgly doesn't need to look like a supermodel and be wearing revealing clothing for no reason, although it's her choice if she wants. That's just no reason for her to look so unappealing. Just give it to the chads, as kids these days online like to say, right? Pull your head out of your butt and put the sword down. Your imaginary war in your head has been going on for long enough. How about you try to enjoy video games again, instead of watching the industry burn? Don't call me your enemy or even your ally. That's war talk, and this is a space for escapism and joy. Don't give people with opposing views any titles. Bigots, sexist, grifter is one I see used more common these days. Stop coming up with excuses to stop listening to anything else anyone else says. How horrible is your worldview to think there are just millions of terrible people online, and the mere possibility of we just want good games is not even a consideration? It's impossible that maybe I and others actually know what we're talking about. I have considered the other side of the coin, and no, it doesn't hold up. Fun fact, how many of you have sat down and literally forced yourself to listen to the views and opinions of those you strongly disagree with? Most likely none of you have, or a tiny select few have, but it's a painful idea, and trust me, it was painful, but I still did it. I actually, no joke, sat down, dedicated an entire day to listening to the other side of the culture war, even outside of gaming, for a whole day. I wanted to see if my own values and thoughts holds up. I don't just name call people and ignore the whole picture like these activists do. And no, calling them activists is not an irony. It's an accurate description that they proudly use. Anyway, Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet will fail. Sony Japan will give a strong and well-earned backhand to the Western Division, and very slowly, things should return to normal. Thankfully, places like Sony and Ubisoft did not do anything gradually, so the unwanted changes and downgrade to the quality of their games really stood out. Most people take a long time to notice things, but when you zoom in on a face and make your intentions 1000% clear, it really helps speed up the pushback and recovery, so thanks for doing that for us. No one can pretend this is normal, and gamers have gotten really good at voting with their wallets. I'm too busy enjoying Soul Reaver Remastered to care about Sony's next big mistake. Now, before we wrap things up, as promised, I do want to talk directly to my SMEXY subscribers for just a moment. I'm sure many of you watched my last video warning players to not pre-order The Witcher 4 after the disaster which was Cyberpunk 2077. Make them earn your trust back was my main message in regards to the developers, CD Projekt Red. A nice simple message that I definitely stand by. A first for this channel, however, was the fact that the comments had been disabled, and even this video you're watching right now also has had the comments disabled. Why is that? Am I running and hiding? Did the comments get so bad in my last video I had no choice, or was I getting owned? None of the above is actually the correct answer. I had the comments disabled at launch of the video, so it never had the chance to get ugly to begin with. Those of you who are used to my content know that one of the things I love to do the most is talk with everyone in the comment section. I try to respond to every single person. Heck, my Soul Reaver Remastered video that cracked 100k views, so 100,000, I'm still blown away. I still responded to like 99% of the comments, hours and hours of my time, but did it happily. That's because the conversations are fun. Some agreed, some disagreed, but overall, everyone was excited, and that's a fun space to be in. When I do a more serious video, like today's one for example, it's more emotionally driven, and so that reflects the comment section. While I don't mind if someone disagrees with me, and I always get more support than hate, I don't like the environment it creates in the comment section. I'm sure even you, dear viewer, have watched an interesting video, looked down at the comment section, and just seen chaos, right? One side attacking the other, also attacking the content creator, and it's just a mess. I personally don't find that fun. I'm replying to fun comments across my whole channel every single day. I do it gladly because it's fun. You know what is not fun? People who are activists who talk at you and not with you. They are not listening, not wanting to have any actual conversations because, as I stated earlier with Neil Druckmann, they see you as either an ally or an enemy and no in between. That's not fun to deal with, and honestly, you don't deserve my time. You don't deserve the time of my subscribers either. So, to my SMEXY subscribers, don't worry if you see a video of mine with the comments disabled. It just means it's a bit more serious in nature, and I'd rather use my energy on the more fun comments I get each day. Please like the video obviously, as that's feedback I can still receive. Not about silencing opposing voices, it's just about managing my energy levels. You know, it takes time, it takes effort to respond to all the comments, and unlike a lot of other YouTubers, I don't like just leaving the comment section and just letting everyone battle it out. Sometimes it's a happy environment, the comment section, sometimes it's a really negative one where everyone's fighting and it just gets filled with problematic people. I don't like that. You know, the comment section is a public space on my channel that I can control, and I like giving my subscribers a fun space that they can talk and interact with each other and have those more mature conversations. With this sort of topics, unfortunately, there's a lot of emotions there. There's a lot of activists who just want to talk at you, not with you. And I'm not interested in giving them the time of the day, of giving them the space. If they dislike the video, they can vote down. Those who like the video, they can vote up. But I don't want to interact with it. I just find it tiring. It takes time. You know, when I read a whole paragraph from someone getting angry, I read the paragraph, I respond to each comment, I leave my comment, and then I just get another paragraph, which is quite obvious they didn't even bother listening the first time. And if I have 100 of these conversations, 200 of these conversations, even if I have 1,000 positive ones, I'm still emotionally getting drained, having to deal with people who are deceitful and not actually wanting to have a good conversation. I'm not saying that in between all the mess, there aren't people that are mature. Absolutely. I've even had some really good conversations with people who think very differently to me. And some of them have even become friends with, and now they're subscribers and we all get along. But I guarantee at the moment with this culture, the people on the activist side, they are losing the so-called war that they created themselves, and they are angry and they are not being reasonable. These aren't people you can have a proper conversation with. Some are good, don't get me wrong, but for every one person on that side of the fence who's willing to talk rationally to me, I have to tolerate another 100 crazy people who are having a go at me, having a go at my subscribers, and I'm not interested in setting up a boxing ring for you. You're at war in your own head, have fun in your own head, don't annoy the rest of us. I want to share my opinions, I want to get it out there, and want to give support to those that are proper gamers that just want games to be back to games. That's it, it's all nice and sweet. Anyways, that being said, God bless you all, take care, and I'll see you all for the next video. And of course, when it's my more fun, happy videos, which of course I will do them every chance I get, naturally the comment section will be open because those conversations will be fun. So yeah, just wanted to make it clear. It's not about me losing an argument or anything anything immature like that. I just don't like giving oxygen to flame wars that really shouldn't be there. You know, if you want to disagree with me, cool, disagree. Hit the thumbs down button, have power to it. But I'm not going to read your short story lecture in the comment section and have you attack other subscribers as well. That's just dumb. Alright, see you all next time. Bye bye.